Well, hello.
Hi.
Hey, Alisa, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Did you enjoy
Good.
your weekend?
Yeah, it kind of threw everything off for me, but it was good. How about you?
Yeah, it was good. Also, it kind of threw me off, but I'm back on schedule now. So,
I'm not quite back on schedule, but I'm getting there. Trying to catch up tonight, so.
yeah,
Mm, So, did you get my example that I sent you?
I did. I haven't had time to read it yet. Let me pull it
Oh,
up. I texted. Is it Marissa?
Marissa. Uh-huh.
She said she was gonna try to make it to this one.
Oh, good.
Let me see. Reading your example right now.
Okay.
Fun fun.
Yeah.
White falls.
I don't
Wow,
have
you had a
any.
really good example. It's tricky. You almost tricked me. I was about to say the $700,000, but then I realized it was about security interest and it's the patent.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That was sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was like, and then I started like, double checking myself, and I was like, well, I mean, I guess technically that would be one of those questions that they could appeal on an exam
Uh-huh.
because they could put it into the contract that, that the manufactured items also could be a security interest. So,
That's true too.
yeah. So I was kind of like, I'm not sure about it. So,
That's a good one. I think we should submit that one over mine. Mine is very run of the mill. So
it was
just
good too, though. I was like, oh, well, that's good too. And I was kind of hoping to see something from Marissa or Christina, to kind of get, because it seems to me and you all the time.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's
But,
fun time.
yeah. So, but yeah. Whichever one you want. I mean, we could do like we did before and change up the question a little bit if you want to.
I think your question is perfect. I couldn't make it any better. That that's
Okay.
that's really tricky. It's a good thing we have three tries to do that.
Yeah.
Or else I think the other groups would be a little upset.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. So, okay. How did you like the reading this week?
um, I actually fell asleep as I did it.
Yeah.
Um, I read it. I don't have classes on Tuesday afternoon, so that's when I usually do my law homework.
Uh,
And I just between the weekend and it being the law,
yeah.
the business law, I fell asleep for about an hour and a half.
That's funny because I started reading it. We were in the car driving somewhere this morning, and I was like, I started reading it, and then I fell asleep. I was like, I'm putting it away. I'm going to take a nap.
There were a couple of things. Let me grab my book real quick.
Okay.
There were a couple of things
This dragon is
that
fun.
were a little difficult for me. I was really happy to learn the different types of bankruptcy. I'd always
There's a lot.
11, chapter 11, chapter 13,
Yeah.
and now I kind of understand that a lot more.
Yeah. There's a lot of them, actually. I was like, okay, I didn't realize that there were so many different types either. So,
Yeah. So a lien, is that how you pronounce it? A lien?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That is when somebody holds on to something that's like collateral, right?
Yeah, so basically it would be like, for example, if somebody puts a lien on your property, if you were to ever sell your property, they would, whatever profit you would make off of that property sale, they would receive whatever they're owed before anything would be dispersed to you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that
So,
makes sense.
like if you sell your house and you have a profit of $10,000, but you owe somebody $10,000 and they placed a lien on that property, you would net nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that part at the beginning when I was really tired, so that's
Yeah.
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 Let's see. Did you get all the exemptions?
No, I'm gonna go back over it and look at everything just because I was to the point that I just kind of skimmed over it.
Yeah.
So I didn't go deep into it all. So um did you understand the differences in dischargeable and non-dischargeable debts?
I kind of got that. There was a lot on that. Let me see. Where are you reading right now?
Um, it is, let me see what it's up under. Hang on a second. Because I have the electronic copy, so I don't know what the pages are.
Okay.
It's right up under where it says chapter 7, 11, and chapter 13.
Right after
And then
that.
it says procedure and exemptions. Oh, wait. Yeah, and then it goes down to the trustee's role. And then that's when it goes into non-dischargeable debts,
Okay,
denial, and
I found it.
overall discharge. Yeah.
So I understood the non-dischargeable debts as those were something that they have to pay. Like it talks about child support and I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Alimony,
Alimony. Yeah. Yeah.
alimony, child support, um, and just others like government fines, taxes, and stuff like that. Those are all stuff that they have to pay. They can't have that like waived away.
Right.
And
So,
then the
sorry,
discharge.
I guess my question is kind of like, is it something that they can pay out through the bankruptcy amount, or is it like, do they have to pay it separate kind of thing? Like if they file bankruptcy and it's okay, they have to pay $500 monthly fee for the bankruptcy items. Is like the child support included in that amount?
I would think so.
Okay.
I would think if they redid their debts by that
Right.
method, that would be included mandatorily. And it would be like a mandatory inclusion.
The funny thing that, and maybe I'm misreading it, but the thing that I thought was odd, I understand that they're non-dischargeable debts. However, it appears from the reading that although they may not be able to be discharged, they they're not set as a priority. So it's not like the child support would have to be paid first. The other creditors would take priority over the non-dischargeable items.
Let me see. There was a part about priority of. I think it's just. Um, Oh, that's a good question. Hold on. I think it's a little bit different when it talks about priority of creditors.
Uh-huh.
I think that deals with more like where it was talking about the preferred or perfected and security when it has like a secured interest. When
Right.
there's one of those on the line, that goes to creditors first because it's hedged up against that. I think with what we were talking about, the just non-dischargeable debts, those
Uh-huh.
are debts and may not have collateral tied to them.
Okay. Okay. That makes more sense then.
I think that's my best go at it.
Okay.
I think the priorities deal more with the creditors, and they're kind of part of it. And the non-dischargeable has to do with the individual debtor.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, that's my best go at it.
Okay.
Let's see. I got really bored of reading all the different statutes.
Yeah.
I really hope we're not tested on those.
I hope not too, because the only one that just really stuck out to me was the fact that once they filed, they cannot file the same type within 8 years.
Oh yeah, yeah. One of my coworkers, or was my boss actually, but he filed bankruptcy a few years ago. He was talking about all the different stuff that he can and cannot do. Like he can't go in for he can't buy a home yet. He has to wait 5 years. I was just amazed at all the different regulations they put on that.
Yeah. And apparently those are like newly instituted changes.
Yeah.
So like I guess there was something that was put into place in 2005, I guess, or 2006 or something.
Uh-huh.
So I was kind of surprised that I was also surprised about the income amounts, like that you had to, like if you were over a certain income amount for your household size and things like that, that you can only file certain types. So yeah, that was kind of interesting to see on like you had certain percentage you had to be under or something like that. So
Yeah, that was. He said when he did his, he had to file everything that he owned, like couches, beds, all his
really?
valuables, and just to prove that, like he couldn't pay the debt that he had
Oh wow.
in assets in his home.
Yeah. Wow. That's sad.
Crazy stuff.
I know.
He's on the uphill. Don't worry.
Well, that's what its purpose is for, so that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Um. Let's see. I liked how they talked about garnishments or garnishments.
Right.
That was more. Is that? Um, is that done by a third party? Oh,
It's
wait. That's where, is that where they take your, is that like where they take payments right out of your income?
right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be terrible.
So yeah, and it can be done by a third party. It all depends on, like, let's say you have school loans, and if you have a garnishment through school loans, and then you also have, like a bankruptcy garnishment, you
Hmm.
can't have several forms of garnishments. So sometimes they have to go to a third party and have it calculated so that more than 50% of your income isn't being subjected to garnishment.
Yep, it does talk about that.
Yeah.
50%, up to 50% of the disposable earnings may be garnished to the
Right.
courts. That's pretty cool. I'm learning all this new stuff.
But can you imagine having a paycheck and having 50% of it taken?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah. I don't, oh, would not want to deal with that.
I mean, I get an hourly wage. You just like getting paid half. I'd be paying like $5 an hour instead of 10.
Exactly. I know, it does not make it worthwhile.
And then I wonder, are you taxed for the full 10?
Yes, you are taxed for your full income, and then the garnishments occur after the taxation.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So just imagine if you received like a gift from your employer and they tax it at 25%, and then you have a 50% deduction from garnishment, you'd have like no check.
Oh dear.
I
Yeah.
was just thinking about all those different scenarios as I was reading that, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I guess the one thing that was a little confusing to me was where it's talking about where it actually talks about the trustee.
The trustee. Okay.
Right. So I'm trying to understand. The trustee basically stands as a court-appointed person for all of the creditors.
Uh-huh.
And so they're basically the ones to sit there and say, okay, they either met their bankruptcy requirements if it's a repayment plan,
Mm-hmm.
or they haven't. So basically, they're kind of the ones steering the ship for the judge, is the way I gathered it. Is that kind of what you got from it?
Yeah, I kind of got the trustee kind of just takes over all the assets. It talks about how he acquires title to all the debtor's property, and then he administrates it by liquidating some things. And I think that's where the priority thing comes in, is that I think he has to abide by those rules at least when liquidating to those who have perfected interest um, or secured interest and stuff like that. But the trustee, I think, recognizes. It says the trustee distributes the debtor's estate in this order to the alimony, child support, stuff like that. And then it pays for all the costs, the fees of administrating.
Right.
And then um, it talks a lot about different claims to like employees. There's really specific things. And then I think it finally goes over to the general creditors. So crazy stuff.
Yeah.
What was your question again? Sorry.
I was mainly just being like, okay, is it the way I just kind of took it is the trustee is the person that's sitting there saying, yes, they're following the rules, no, they're not, and here's all the people they owe, and this is why they should or should not be allowed to continue on with the bankruptcy.
Uh-huh.
And it just kind of seems like they really do kind of sum it up for the judge, basically.
Yeah, especially when it comes to Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool. And you can self-declare Chapter 7, right?
Yeah, you can self-declare any of them, but the thing is that there's so much paperwork that goes into it. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know how anybody could do it if they're not a lawyer. Really don't. Because I was looking at on the internet, I was looking at some of the U.S. bankruptcy court website,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a ton of files that you can do to actually file yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, like, I don't know how anybody would know what they're supposed to file and what they're not. It was crazy. So it was so much. So if you get the chance, just go look at it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting just to see what all is there, because they have an option on there that says filing without an attorney, and
Ooh,
you can click on it and it shows like all the different forms. It's crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy. So
You think it's worse or easier than taxes?
yeah, it's, I would say, worse than taxes. It's because you have to basically spell it out for each creditor. You have to file the paperwork for each creditor.
Oh,
For each proof of claim, you have to file something separate. And I was like, oh, wow. That,
that's easy.
yeah.
Let me see. So Chapter 7 bankruptcy is they appoint a trustee. The trustee liquidates the assets. Chapter 11, where they restructure the businesses.
Right.
And then Chapter 13,
That's basically where they go and negotiate the repayment.
okay. Oh, yep, the debtor files a payment plan. Okay, yeah. Which one do you think is the most common type of bankruptcy?
Well, you know, here's the deal. Now that the laws have changed, this is what I got from the internet. I did not get this from reading. But now that the laws have changed in 2005, it used to be that Chapter 7 was the most common, but now most people's income does not allow them to meet the requirements of a Chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
They meet the requirements of a 13,
Okay.
unless they're extremely low income. So that's where it all depends on the household size, the expenditures, and the debt versus income ratio. So most common now is 13 because it's redistribution of the payment.
Okay. That makes sense. I remember seeing something on TV. It was a comedy, but they talked about bankruptcy. And
Uh-huh.
they mentioned how it changed. They were like, bankruptcy used to be a cool thing that anybody could do. And now with the change,
Yeah.
it does sound a lot harder
Yeah. Yeah.
and less lucrative. I bet people
Right.
go bankrupt.
But then now, is it businesses can only do a Chapter 11? Is that
It says it's mainly intended to allow online it's mainly for businesses. I could see it being for no, I just see it for businesses because it restructures the organization.
right? Right.
I mean, for small businesses, it says there's a special simple fast track, Chapter 11 for small businesses, but I think it's mainly for organizations.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it mentioned in here somewhere about Chapter 12 bankruptcies. Do you remember that? No, quite. Maybe I'm making this up. No, okay. I probably made that part up.
Well, there is, because I saw in part of the reading there was something about chapter 15, and I was like, what? Chapter 15? But it said,
Chapter 15 of the bankruptcy code.
right, it's of the bankruptcy code.
Okay,
So,
maybe that's what I was thinking of.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, I thought it was cool the difference between a pledge and a security interest. A pledge is where you actually the creditor takes possession of something. A security interest, they just kind of like qualify an asset as collateral. I thought that was pretty cool.
So the pledge actually where, okay, it says the debtor provides the creditor with physical possession of some of the debtor's property. So it's like an in-hand collateral, basically.
And that's how I understood it.
Okay.
Like you take your diamond to the bank, and they keep your diamond until you pay back the.
So it's kind of like a pawn shop.
Kind of. That's a good way to put it.
So the pawn shop holds on to your stuff, and if you don't pay off the loan that you took from them, then they want to get what they want.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's when in the perfection default. Let's see. So, if there's anything else.
So I had a question that I didn't really see it being addressed, which is, so let's say, it brought out in the reading, it brought out specific things like if you were to go take out like a non-secured loan within so many days of filing the bankruptcy, that would be one of those debts that could not be discharged kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But so what happens in this scenario of, like, I started thinking about like RC Willie's or Rooms to Go, those type places where they say, 5 years, same as cash or whatever those type situations are.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you were to do that and then it doesn't come due until 2 years after you filed bankruptcy.
Uh-huh.
Is that a debt that can be discharged, or is that just a new debt that would incur?
I don't know. That's a good question. I would think that it wouldn't be dischargeable because, like, within 90 days of declaring bankruptcy, you kind of know your financial setting,
Uh-huh.
and I don't think it would be like wise or like in terms of the law, it probably wouldn't be like legal. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
Right.
it would be wrong to do within that much time. Like, you're kind of going to go bankrupt to take out another loan.
Right.
I think they would count it against you that it would be non-dischargeable. Let me see. Let me see. Limits of discharge.
Well, I guess I kind of answered my own little question because you have to do a financial statement.
That's true.
So I guess there wouldn't be that way.
Now, do you know what's included in a financial statement? Because when I think of financial statements, I think of accounting, and I'm not sure that's the exact same. I think it might be just a statement of like an asset and liabilities, or what do you understand from this?
Kind of the way that I thought of it is the fact that it's like you have to do basically you have to report every credit line that you possess,
Mhm.
and you have to also put down like your boss with all of the possessions that he owned. Had to file on everything.
Mhm.
Um, and then it says control is the only way to perfect a security interest in a letter of credit or in a deposit account. So you basically have to tell them about all of your, like any bank accounts and stuff like that. One thing I didn't understand is automatic perfection.
Mhm.
So I didn't really understand what that was. But it's
Automatic perfection. Um,
involves a purchase money security interest.
well, perfection and attachment kind of like give first right of liquidating that asset to pay the debt owed directly to that first party. So I think when it comes down to automatic perfection, it talks about how the the security interest is held by the seller of the collateral.
Okay.
It's like I think it's kind of more like a pledge in that way, that the creditor has more of a direct tie to that asset, um, compared to other creditors which don't have a direct tie. I don't know if that makes sense. They have this
Yeah.
affected to them because they either have possession of it or they have, I don't know, like more direct possession as compared to the other one.
Okay. So, but it says in here, do not confuse the financing statement with the security agreement. So now I have to go find where it's talking about security agreement. So basically, the financial statement, you have to put out there like anything that you may have as far as like stocks, bonds, all of that, no matter what the form is of potential money
Mm-hmm.
or value. So, uh, oh wow. Okay, so looking at the end of it, it says when a debtor moves to another state or
Mm-hmm.
is succeeded through a merger. So basically, there's a 4-month time frame there that anything as far as collateral or anything like that can actually be reevaluated under the bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize that. Okay.
That's a good thing to point out. Um, so you do not confuse the financial statement with the security agreement. Okay, I like what it says here about the financial statements. It says the financial statement simply furnishes the minimal information needed to put other parties on notice of a security interest. So a security agreement maybe just be between one party and you. Oh, hold on, my battery's going dead on my computer.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. So security agreement is more between you and the debtor or you and the creditor. And then the financial statement is just to furnish minimal information for other parties to like
Okay.
have a security interest or multiple security interests. That
That
way, I
makes
guess
more sense.
they don't secure the same like item. You don't have two creditors on one asset
Right.
if that asset's not worth both liabilities.
Wow. Then it says a proper filing will be good for 5 years, and there's unlimited number extensions. Wow. Huh. Okay. Okay. So there are, when it comes to the actual bankruptcy, there is default of a debt, which is not an outcome of the bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, for the bankruptcy, there's either a discharge of the debts, which would include any like Chapter 13 garnishments and repayments, or liquidations.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's dismissal, which is they just didn't meet the criteria of the bankruptcy and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you gathered?
Yep, that sounds about right. Now, when it comes to defaults, I was really amazed that you have certain rights before you default and you have less rights after you default. I don't know. I've never defaulted on anything so far, but
Oh, wow.
after you default, the secure party has a lot more power over your asset, your collateral.
Which I guess if you think about it, it's like they talked about in the beginning of the chapter. If you think about it, that's why debtors had such a hard time so many years ago, because that's when they were kind of pretty much indebted to prison,
Yeah.
you know? So kind of the same thing. You're just not behind bars.
Yeah. Yeah.
But credit is kind of everything that you know, if you don't have good credit, you don't have the ability to do lots of things.
That's really true in this day and age.
Yeah.
Really true.
Okay.
Well, I think that's about it for me on questions.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I understood the whole sale of collateral and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, then with your example, you
Uh-huh.
want to put on the link for this video and our names, and I think that's
No,
all.
that's just so I'm sure, because what I did the last time is I just copied what's actually up here, where it's like HTTPS, hangouts.google.com, all that, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm gonna copy that and then I'll post it in there, and that's pretty much it, right?
yep. You have everything else laid out pretty well on that form. So,
All
yep,
right.
our names in the link, and we're good. So,
All right. I will post it and we'll be done with it then. So,
okay. Same time next week.
all right, sounds good.
Okay. Thanks, Aletha. You have a
All
great week.
right. Thank you too. See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.